Thanks for joining me today. This is the Producer's Journal podcast. My name is Derek. If you're new to this, I'm a podcast producer and I own a podcast production agency. And this is where I share stories about my experiences in being those two things. This episode is presented to you by Shelby Rowe Productions, ShelbyRoweProductions.com, and on Instagram at Shelby Rowe Productions LLC. I hope everyone's having a good day today. So today I want to talk about something that happened recently, and that is a potential client that wanted a little extra. So then you have to kind of sit back and realize, you know what, that person might need to be charged a premium. And here's why you should think that way. But first, let's do a little update here. The studio is coming along. I've got my storage cabinet built. I have a nice AV table built up where it's one of those deals where it has the slide out tray where you would normally put a keyboard, and then the top would be whatever you want to put up on there. And then the bottom section, I would say the bottom 2/3, rather than it being wide open, it's enclosed with a cool latch door. So that's where I put mic stands and headphones, the short mic stands, that is, like tabletop stands. And on the drawer that slides out, that's where I put my other Rodecaster. I have two. So that will be used for when I record stuff for The Real Hernando or anything else that I may do. And then on top of the AV table will go the laptop, because I will be backing up recordings on Reaper. So record locally on the Rodecaster, back it up on Reaper, and we should be good to go from there. This is also something that I can use if I'm working with a client that's in here recording a podcast that I'm not on. It's just them. I can still engineer/tech the recording session for them by just pulling that AV table near me, and there you go. That was last week, and I'm finally starting to feel a little settled. I'm a big fan of a place for everything and everything in its place. So the storage cabinet was a big deal. I added some more shelving to it, and it's pretty well organized now. And it took everything off my floor. This place was just a mess for a while because I had mic stands and tripods and cables and just stuff all over the place that I kept having to move strategically as I was building another piece of furniture. So the file cabinet was a huge deal. So after that, things are going well. I got some cool lighting on the ceiling. If you've been paying attention to my recent reels, as I produce reels to promote this podcast, you'll see that I have some nice backlighting now, different colors. So that's exciting. It's finally put myself in a position where now I can have people come in and do some video work, and it will look somewhat professional. Still bare walls, looking for panels and artwork or any aesthetics to it. But right now, the next thing is to get my friend Steven back in here, and we're going to start hanging cameras, mounting cameras off the wall, and then add more lights once we kind of see the video angles and see what we're working with. So that's where we're at right now, and let's move on to the topic. All right, so this episode is brought to you by Patreon. Go to the description, find the Patreon link. There's one tier you can subscribe to. It's called the Tip Jar. It's just $1 a month, and it's just that. It's a tip, a kind gesture from you if you enjoy this content. Also, brought to you by eBay. Again, go to the description. You'll find my eBay link. On that eBay store, I sell books, music books mainly, guitar tablature books to be specific. and a lot of base tablature books as well. So go in there, check out the books, throw in a bid, and if you purchase a book, then you have not only taken that book off my table, but you've helped support me with the income I get from that purchase. So I would appreciate it. Okay, so I finally got a meeting last week. It's been a while since I got a new client, or at least a new consultation. I have not been as aggressive as usual on Upwork, which is where I got so many of my clients. The reason for that is because I've been getting a lot of referrals and things that have been adding more work. I know that sounds silly to say, but of course, Derek adds more work. But just higher responsibilities, bigger contracts, bigger clients, more responsibility. And even though I have my team on these things. And then you add the fact that I'm building this studio, as I just talked about, that's eating up a ton of time. So you get to a point where you think, man, if I had a new client, it's kind of irresponsible because there's so much going on. Never mind the local stuff that I'm trying to accomplish here in the Rio Hernando, like sponsoring the podcast and gaining local clients. So I haven't done really any outreach for quite a while. But Upwork will sometimes connect you with someone by invite, meaning the person found my profile and invited me to read his proposal, or rather his job description, and accept it if I want to interview or not. So that's always a nice thing. That's you're one step ahead there because they're already interested in you. Where mostly you are looking through a job feed and you are sending proposals to them, introducing yourself and what you do in hopes that they schedule with you. Well, the opposite can happen. This person found me, sent me a job description with an invite for me to decline or accept. So you read the job and you decide if you want to decline it or accept it. You can see what the hourly rate may be or the flat rate may be. But this one that came in was the first one in a while that was worth accepting. I'd probably get half a dozen of these over a month. Lately, it's been a lot of spam where you can just tell it's spammy. And then others that I see it and I'm like, no, that's just not what I want to do, or it's a one-time thing and I only want long-term. So I decline a lot. This one was pretty interesting. It was a sports podcast that wanted to do a lot of remote recording at different sports venues, and among other things. So that sounds cool, but he's also shown interest in me. So let's accept it. And I did. So we schedule something. This is red flag number 1, by the way. So we're entering into the red flags, plural. The appointment was set for a specific day time. Obviously, again, Derek, you are speaking the obvious here. Yes, when you schedule something, it's a specific time and day. But I can't remember the time and day anymore, and that's fine. But what happened is he was a no-show. Happens. It's happened before, and it just is what it is. So you wait 10, 15 minutes, then you send him a message. Hey, sorry we missed each other. Is everything okay? Are you still interested in meeting? I'd love to still schedule something with you. So I did that. 3 hours later, he hits back. Sorry, man. The day just got away from me. I'm still interested in talking. Are you available tomorrow? So I message back. Sure. Are you free this time? And whatever. So we land another time. Now, by now, I'm kind of already annoyed. Like 3 hours later, okay. There's been plenty of times where that same scenario happens and I email this person, but they never respond and they just disappear. That happens a lot too. At least this guy came back. Like, okay, good. Benefit of the doubt, shit happens. So our next meeting comes up, and this time I tell him, I'm calling you. I'm going to call you at your number at this time. He's like, great. So I make that phone call, and he answers, and he sounds like he doesn't want to be on the phone, and he's being interrupted. And he says something like, I'm in the middle of an RV sale right now. So apparently he sells RVs. Hey, can I get back to you real quick? I'll just be back. Give me a couple minutes. Okay. And 15 minutes pass. And this is red flag number 2. This is the second time that he's just not being professional, I guess, in a way. He, as a provider, a service provider, you start thinking of this person as like, is he going to be this way the whole time we work together? So that's what's going on in the back of my head. And it's making me feel like not worth it. But let's go through the motions here. Let's at least talk to him, see what's going on. But he's not calling back. So I text him. And this is a trick. Say, hey, I got a hard out in 15 minutes at 4:30 Eastern. You got to make sure you specify not only the amount of minutes you have left, but the time that you need to be out by. You could say 15 minutes, and then he reads the text 10 minutes after you send it, and then he sees it as 15 minutes. No, because then now it could take 30 minutes. You say, I got a hard out in 15 minutes at X time, Eastern. Always go with Eastern because it's just everyone, I'm Central Time, but just go Eastern and let them do the math and figure it out. And so I sent him this text, and he finally calls. And he's all just distracted, and like he doesn't want to be on the phone. So now I'm like, all right. I definitely don't want to work with this guy if he's going to be this way, but let's hear him out. He proceeds to tell me what the podcast is all about, and it still is a cool project. But then once I learned this small factor, by small I mean big, sarcasm, it's one of those deals where the episodes are live. Streamed live, and they want to stream them from these various locations, like I mentioned before. So now things change because typically in the podcast world, someone records an episode, they send it to their producer or editor, and we do our thing. It's way more flexible time-wise. But when you do a live podcast, there is no flexibility. It's like going to work because you got to be there in real time. So that adds a little extra. This is not a red flag, but now I'm thinking, well, if I really wanted to do this, then it's going to be tricky staffing that. I'm certainly not going to do it, but I'd have to staff it. Now I'm thinking premium rate added to the deal that I can tell this person's kind of a jerk off. You can kind of there's ways to fire a current client or not take a potential client without firing and saying no. You just charge a certain rate, or for the current client, you raise your rates. And then they can either pay it or they can go. And if they do decide to pay the new rate, then at least I feel better knowing that I feel like now I'm getting compensated the way I should be for dealing with the stuff I may have to deal with. So now I'm got that in the back of my head. Then I find out that it's Monday through Friday, 5 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and Saturday, 10 to noon every week. I'm like, man, I'm almost annoyed by that because, like, man, like, how do you expect anyone to be able to commit to that? It's weekdays right during dinner time, and then the Saturday morning. So I just kind of roll with it, and I express not my concern, but I tell them what we can do. All the editing, all the production, post, all good. You know, publishing, management, we got you. But the staffing of a podcast that's going live 6 days a week at very difficult times of the day is difficult. And I expressed that to him. Like, that's going to be a tricky find for you, as I said to him. He was like, I mean, I guess, whatever. And now I don't want to work with this guy at all. So I just tell him straight up, I'm like, yeah, man, I could staff this for you. I could make this work for you, but it's going to come at a premium rate. And before I could even give a number, he's like, all right, whatever. Okay, it's not going to work out. Thanks, buddy. Bye. Gone. I guess the moral of that story is when you are speaking to someone that may be interested in working with you, and you just get the feeling of, man, this guy doesn't seem like he'd be fun to work with. He's unprofessional because he's been late twice. Or you get the scope of what the work is. And even if it's a little outside of your scope, but you think, I can get that done by doing X, Y, and Z. Well, don't be afraid to charge accordingly. And just say, in order for me to do these things for you, specific to you, because what you need is unique compared to our general service offerings, it's going to come at a premium rate. And shoot for the skies. Don't be super absurd. Don't be like, it's going to be $1,000 an hour. No, don't do that. But if you're charging $50 an hour, charge $100, or at least pitch $100 an hour. One of two things is going to happen, and both situations are going to make you happy. One, they're going to say no, and then now you don't have to work with this jackass. Or two, they pay it. And now you're making $100 an hour and willing to deal with this person for a while. Who knows, 6 months down the road, you might be like, $100 is not even worth this. And you know what then you do then is you schedule a call and just get honest with them and say, look, after 6 months of working for you and doing the scope of stuff you need, I realize this isn't working for me, and we need to renegotiate in order for this to make sense for me financially. If this doesn't work out, I'll give you a 30-day notice. I'm not going to leave you hanging. You know, be nice about it, but also be forward and not demanding, but have confidence behind whatever you pitch. If now it's, man, it's going to take $150 an hour today, stand by it. Be confident. Because I think by now you're okay with getting a no because you just don't feel like dealing with this person. And that's one of those tricks is sometimes making a premium rate can make something more worthwhile or make you avoid having that responsibility. Just as long as you have the mindset of, it doesn't matter if I get this client or not, or this client can disappear and it won't kill me. It won't hurt my bottom line or destroy my top line too much. Once you have that mindset, you have so much power and control, and you don't have to deal with crappy clients because they're out there. Once in a while you get them, and I hope none of my clients are listening to this. And if you are, you're a great client. I have no problem with you. You're awesome. You're always on time. You pay me on time. Not. And please don't go anywhere because I need you. Well, there you have it. I don't know how that went for you, but I think it went okay for me, considering that I turn the microphone on and just start talking. I never know what's going to come out, whether it's good or bad or ugly, boring, fun, annoying. I don't care. It is what it is. Check out Patreon and eBay. See the links in the description. It's the best way to support this podcast. We're also on YouTube. And again, all links in the description. If you can, give me a rating, a review, subscribe, all those fun things. Until next time, have a good day.